What is up, YouTubers? Here we are for another episode of The Shit Show. And I'm actually just, I'm thinking about a few things. I was thinking about the types of things that I want to be able to discuss tonight. While I'm getting ready to cook some dinner here. But after the conversation that I was having last night with the women's group about, letting go, because last night we talked about some of the 6 principles to healing after trauma. I had that conversation with the one lady who just was unsure about how she would ever be able to let go of something. She was holding on to something. We really hadn't figured out fully what it is. I didn't really want to have a lengthy conversation with her about it at that time. But she said she had been holding on to something for 20 years. And her question over and over again to me was, how can I let it go? And she said, she just couldn't. And I thought about myself being in that place. And I knew that I was in a situation not that long ago where I felt like I was trying to forgive, but for the life of me, I just could not figure out how to get it done. Now, this particular situation was with my mother. And I have had an awful relationship with my mother for many, many years. I will say that she was a very broken individual. She had a very hard life growing up as a young woman herself. So there are a lot of things that she did not know how to do. But I think that children come here. We have expectations of our parents. Rightfully so, because they did bring you here. And you don't know that they're not equipped to do the right thing. Nobody understands that until they get a lot older. And many times by then, all the damage has been done. Okay. So needless to say, my mother was very much in a situation where men came first. So even though, she had me as her only daughter, whatever man was in her life at the time took precedent. And I think that's what she had been taught, or that is what she grew up doing. And maybe that worked for her in order to get her from point A to point B. I'm not sure. But when I came along, that really wasn't something that she was willing to put to the side. So because she put men first, she allowed a lot of things to happen. She allowed a lot of boundaries to be blurred. She allowed these men to take a lot of liberties, not only with her, but also with me. And she just wasn't a protector. She wasn't someone that I could tell that something had happened to me and she was going to do anything about it. And much of that stemmed from the fact that she didn't know what to do about it. She was afraid to do something about it. She felt like the outcome of doing something about it would be worse than just living with the situation. That's what she told me on multiple occasions. Well, as a mother, I never agreed with that. And I have a daughter. I also have a son, but I have a daughter. And so after I had my daughter, who is now 8 years old, the irritation that I had with my mother just reached an all-time high, because I could never understand for the life of me, after looking at my own little girl, how I could make a decision to choose a man over her. And I know that a lot of women deal with this. I know that a lot of women have been in situations where they have suffered abuse at the hand of someone they know, someone they live with, someone perhaps that one of their parents has chosen, not actually their parent, whatever the situation is. And so because my mother allowed those things to happen, and because she never felt sorry about it either, I felt like forgiveness was really not for her. If I think about the biblical principles of forgiveness, you know, it's like you forgive, but people have to actually ask for forgiveness. They have to repent, if you will, before one is forgiven. And I took that stance for a long time. Like, she's not even sorry. Why should I forgive her? And I just kept trying to figure this out. I mean, I was reading T.D. Jakes, Iyanla Vanzant, anything I could get my hands on about forgiveness, because I'm like, hey, I'm a spiritual person. What is it about this situation, or what is it about her that I can't forgive? And it all came down to what I felt like forgiveness was. I felt like if I forgave her, that meant that I was condoning her behavior in some shape, form, or fashion. And I never condoned her behavior. So if that's what forgiveness meant, it was something that I was not willing to do. She had not apologized, so I didn't think she was really sorry anyway. So why would I need to forgive her? If I forgave her, that meant that now I had to let my boundaries be a little loose and allow her to come around and do some things that I just didn't feel like she should have had access to. And once I realized that that's not what forgiveness was at all, it was much easier for me to, in fact, forgive her. I stopped talking to my mother for well over a year until I could sort some things out. She, just hearing her voice on a regular basis and getting into arguments with her could be very distracting. But one of the first things we have to realize about forgiveness is it doesn't mean that you're condoning the person's behavior. It doesn't mean that at all. All it means is that you are of the realization that that person made some mistakes. Okay? And I'm not going to be able to video for that long tonight because it looks like I don't have a lot of tape available. But only thing you're doing first is realizing that that person made some mistakes. And we all make mistakes. Heaven forbid you make mistakes from time to time. But that's the only thing I want you to take away.